Hello, Chitappa. நீ மியூட்ல இருக்க.
Let me bring down the volume of the womb.
Okay. Let me put on my headset. Yeah.
Hello, Chitappa.
చిత్తప్పకు వినిపించలేదు. నువ్వు మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నావు చిన్ని.
Illa, I am not in mute.
నో సుజాత.
Hello, Chitappa.
చిత్తప్ప
Namaste. क्या कर दे? Namaste, namaste Sujata.
Namaste,
Hello.
Chitappa.
Nama la saukima.
எல்லாரும் சௌக்கியம் தான் சித்தப்பா. நீ எப்படி இருக்க?
நல்லா இருக்கு.
Very good.
Very fine. Just want to let you know this entire thing is being recorded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but we can talk. Just let you know.
Yeah, I forgot
When
about it.
when Dawn starts the session in the morning, our
Okay.
அந்த ரெக்கார்டிங் ஆரம்பிச்சிடுவோம். அது தனியா என்னால பண்ண முடியறது இல்ல.
Yeah.
So அது அந்த கண்ட்ரோல் இண்டிவிஜுவலி வரணும்னாக்கா அதுக்கு I think we have to buy a webinar package which is quite expensive.
Okay.
I mean we don't need
Yeah.
all the bells and whistles of that package.
Correct.
What's happening to all my sisters?
There's still 4 minutes.
மீனா வந்துட்டா.
Okay. How do you know? Okay.
மீனா தான் ஐபேட்ல வரா.
Namaste, Kumar.
Namaste, Meena. Let me see your beautiful teeth. Or no teeth, no tooth.
No teeth, you can't see.
I can see it now.
Hello, Atte.
Hello, Chandar.
எப்படி இருக்க?
நீ சின்ன வயசுல அப்படி இருந்தது ஞாபகம் இல்ல.
இப்ப பெரிய வயசுல பாரு.
The only sibling I could have seen is you. எனக்கு ஞாபகம் இல்ல.
Namaste, Kumar.
Namaste.
Hello, Atte.
Chandar.
So far it is.
Namaste, Meena. Namaste, Akka.
Seems to be all family affair இன்னைக்கு.
Sujata, Chandar.
I didn't send out a reminder, so maybe people conveniently forgot.
Oh. Sujata.
இருக்கா.
கொஞ்சம் பிரயோஜனம் இல்ல, but I'm sure.
Hello, Atta.
Hello, Sujata.
எப்படி இருக்கீங்க ரெண்டு பேரும்?
நல்லா ஃபைனா இருக்கும். Very fine.
They are so fine, Sujata. They are so fine. You can borrow some fine from them.
Yeah.
We will send some fine across.
Sure.
புடிச்சுக்கோ. குட்டீஸ்லாம் நல்லா இருக்கா?
நல்லா இருக்காங்க அத்தை.
நேத்துக்கு அப்பா வந்திருந்தாங்க, அப்பாவும் மதுவும்.
Meena, Akka, Sujata, the session is being recorded, so remember.
ஐயோ சாரி சார்.
No, you can talk. Just remember, it is being recorded. From the time I log in, the session is recorded, and I have no control over it.
No, even before that, it was recorded.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, when I logged in, you were not there, but still it was being recorded.
Oh, really? Oh. She told me that only when I log in, it will record. Maybe whoever logs in first starts recording.
Yeah, I saw the recording symbol visible on the screen.
I will let her know. I mean, not that anything she can do about it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 5:59.
Yeah.
My alarm has not gone off. I don't know why.
Marker sent a reminder.
Okay. Start with 3 ohms. Namaste. Suprabhatam. Namo Namaha. Depending on where you are. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen. Speak hello. And then let me share the screen. You are able to hear me, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Kumarji, yes.
Okay. Oh, Meeraji is here.
Yes, namaste.
Okay. Let me share the sutra screen. There you go. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. As always, we go right to the top. We start with the recap of what we have done so far. Unfortunately, we don't have Kranti in today. Her husband is down with COVID for the past 2-3 days. So she's unable to join. I don't know what excuses the others have. Anyway. So in Samadhi Pada, in which we are, the first chapter, we know that the first 4 sutras are basically the executive summary. Like in any proposal, project proposal, a research paper, or any article that is written to newspapers, magazines, there is always a executive summary, because an executive is so busy they don't have time to read through the entire thing. So they'll just read the executive summary, and if that kindles their interest, then they will go forward. So Patanjali Muni also has given that to us. So in the first 4 sutras, he says, what is being in yoga mean? Yoga meaning means that is when the chitta vrittis are under your control, the activation. The chitta vrittis are activations of the chitta. When they are in your control, then you are said to be in yoga. When it's not in your control and you are behaving based on the activations, that's what we normally do, right? The activations drive us. So we engage in acts based on the activations. So then we are not in yoga. So that is the executive summary. So then he goes on to describe what can we do? Well, what can we do to be in a state of yoga? And to that, he talks about 5 things. Basically, he's saying these are the activations, the 5 activations that are responsible for all the different kinds of activations that are happening in us. So he's talking about pramana, which is evidence-based, pratyaksha, pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smritya. So all these 5 he has indicated. So it could be evidence-based, or it could be just your imagination, or it could be just your delusion, or it could be nidra, based on sleep, some experiences, dreams in sleep, or it's just a memory thing, something which you have stored in your memory and you're getting it. So these are the 5 things are based on which the activations occur. So that any activation that is going on in you can be classified into these 5. And then he goes on to explain each one, which we have seen in detail already. We can move on. And then in the next sutras, he's talking about, so yes, we say, okay, yes, we understand. We have all these activations. What can we do to get out of these activations? That is what we want. So he says, when you are in vairagyabhyam, meaning being in a state of detached attachment, okay, being in a state of detachment, having an attitude of detachment to everything in this world, every relationship, whether it be your children, or whether it be your spouse, whether it be your friend, whether it be your relative, or any person whom you met at work, any colleague, anybody for that matter, and with all articles, house, car, whatever, kitchen utensils, whatever, with everything you have an attitude of detachment. That is what is vairagya abhiyam means. When you have that and you practice that, so that's what he says. And then when that practice becomes stable, how does it become stable? He says it becomes stable by dirgha kala. When you do that for a long period of time, nairantarya, without interruption, and satkara sevito, with that good intention, powerful and good intention that I want to do this. I want to get out of this activation. I don't want to be a slave to this act. When we do that, then and when you do it for a long period of time, then all these practices will be established in you. That's what he says by saying Dhrida Bhumi. So then he goes on to describe certain states from there, and he says, so you get samyana, that jnana comes to you, that awareness comes to you. And also he says, all the gunas, although they are flowing in us, then nothing will affect you. The activations have become silent. So anything that is flowing in you does not affect you. You become a seer, you become an observer. Because of the fact that we have this asmita in us, the characteristic, the quality which makes us to become an experiencer and an observer. So we move on from there. And then in the sutra number 17th, he says, Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita Rupa Ananda Ananda Asmita Anugamat. From all these things flows Vitarka, questioning, Vichara, contemplating, Ananda, letting go, Asmita, experiencing. From that, what does it flow? What flows? Samprajnataha state, the state of samprajnataha. We saw what is samprajnataha means. We saw that it is the state where the divine connectivity happens. And when divine connectivity happens 24/7, that means the entire source of supreme knowledge is available to you. You have to place a question and the answer will come to you. Remember, even if you have divine connectivity, unless you ask a question, the answer will not be given to you. Please remember this very clearly. There is a huge amount of information there. You place the question and the answer will come. If you don't ask the question, you will remain dumb. So that's also happens to people. They get connected to the divine and they don't ask any question. They remain dumb. They don't get enlightened. Okay. Then in the following 3 sutras, he describes a few states that you may have before you get to the samprajnataka state. So with sutra number 17, we said the summary, the full summary of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is complete with Yoga Sutra 17. And with the sutra number 120, we are saying the first section, the Samadhipada, the first chapter is divided into 3 sections, and it has got, I think, about 51 or 52 sutras. So the first section of the first section is 20 sutras. So the first section gets over at Sutra 120, and Sutra 121 through, I think, 30 is actually the second section. So in the second section, basically, he's talking about Bhakti Yoga. How, I mean, yeah, how am I to do all this abhyasa? How am I to watch this? How am I to see this activations? I have no clue. Then he says, oh, there is another way to do that. That is by complete surrender to Ishvara, the unmanifest divine. And then he goes on to define who that Ishvara is. In sutras 123 to 130, he is defined 129. All these things are given. Ishvara, who is Ishvara? Ishvara, he is defining as one who is beyond the klesha karma cycle, right? Who is unaffected by the klesha karma. We are all affected by klesha karma. He is unaffected, who stands alone. And then he says the language with which he speaks is the pranava. And he also says that the unmanifest divine is the only guru. There is no other guru. He is the only guru. Not only now, forever. He has been the guru of all gurus. So he is the only guru. So there is no standing here for any other person as a guru here. In Yoga Sutra, there is no standing for others as gurus. So when you do meditation, when you do tapas on the pranava, which is Om, when you do that, because the divine communicates with that Om, when you do that, you will understand the meaning of Om. That's what he says. And then that ends our second section. The third section starts with Sutra 130. So we are asking, okay, and this is difficult for me, complete surrender and all that. Bhakti yoga is not my cup of tea. Maybe, once in a day I may spend 5 minutes in the puja room, but I cannot surrender completely. What is surrender? The surrendering of the surrendering of the ego. What is ego? The sense of doer. I am doing it. That sense of doership. And also raga dvesha all put together is the ego. I am unable to surrender. I do not even know how to get to that point. So, which means he says, so the rest of the population, he says, is afflicted by all these different things, mental things, right? Vyadi, all kinds of diseases, mental inertia, despondency, all that he talks about. And then he says, from that mental state arises the following things. What is that? Dukkha, sorrow. You get all these different emotions. Sorrow, daurmanasya, which is despondency, etc., comes to you. So I think that's where we stopped at 133. Yeah?
33.
We finished with 133. So we finished with 133. So we are asking, in the first two sutras, in 30 and 31, he has defined what is our condition, what is our present condition. This is where we are with all these different mental things. And because of the mental things, we are having all the physical, emotional disturbances, right? And then in 32 and 33, he is saying, how can you get over these diseases, this mental condition, these mental conditions, as well as the emotions of sorrow, despondency, etc. So that's where we stopped. And in 132, he says that Maitri Karuna Mudita Upekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishyanam Bhava Bhavanataha Chitta Prasadanam. So Chitta Prasadanam. Prasadam we know that which comes as a blessing. Chitta Prasadanam, that is blessing to the Chitta. What comes as a blessing to the soul? What kind of experience comes to the Chitta? The Chitta begins to feel very good. How does it feel good? When does it feel good? It feels good when there is a sorrowful event, when there is sukha. I mean, when there is happiness, you have a sense of friendliness with it. You don't go overboard. You don't jump around. When there is dukkha, when there is sorrow, then you have a sense of compassion towards it. Karuna. You have a sense of compassion towards it. When virtuous things happen, punya things happen, virtuous things happen, you have a sense of mudita, right? A feeling of internal joy. You feel internally happy. And then when apunya things happen, when when bad things happen, when things that we don't like, those things happen, upekshanam, we ignore and we walk away from those things. If you have that, this is the sutra on moderation of life. If you lead your life with this kind of moderation, then you will not be, your chitta will feel good, but not just externally. That's where I was talking about my family, etc. Just not externally, but internally as well. This has to come internally. So this is what I was telling my sisters and others, my nephews and nieces, that it has to gel, that it has to come in internally. So then those two, he says in 33 he has given you an algorithm, a formula, how you can get your activations in complete control. He has given you a formula. So that's why I said you must definitely memorize this sutra. A few sutras I've already told you, and this one is very, very important because this is going to happen to you many times during the day. Many, many times during the day it is going to happen. So every time something disturbs you, say that sutra to yourself. You can say it loudly too and apply it. Sujata wanted to know how to apply the sutras in daily life. That is why I'm saying, Sujata, for you. This is how you apply it. This sutra you must memorize. And for all of you, including myself, we have to memorize and be very aware of our activations, our feelings. Initially it is difficult, but slowly over a period of time, you can bring the sutra, apply the sutra, and your activations will be happening. It will say, oh, this my sister is a terrible one. My activations will go on, but I will not react to it. I will say, oh, how lovely you are, Meena. Even without the front tooth, you're so beautiful. I'll say that. not giving into the activations. Not lying, but meaning it real. Okay, so that's one way. Then he says, or prachardana vidara nabhyam va pranasya. Pranasya is the vitality. It comes from pranava, the breathing. So prachardana is exhalation. Vidhara nabhyam means holding of breath. So whoever has been to Dr. Rajan's daily yoga class, you will know holding of breath we do. Bahir kumbhak we do, right? That kumbhaka is holding of breath. So it is not just inhalation, it is holding of breath and then doing the inhalation, whatever. So this technique of holding the breath is very important. And if you pay, so when you do this Bahir Kumbhak breathing that we do, that is very helpful to calm down the activations. So that is why, as a practice, there are many kinds of Kumbhaka. We do the Bahir Kumbhaka, where we expel the air, we exhale, and then hold the breath. Because if when we inhale the breath and holding it, can cause problems unless you're fully monitored. Okay, that is why that practice we are not doing when we are doing it on Zoom. So you need the teacher right there to make sure that there is no other problem when you are inhaling and holding the breath. Anyway, so you can by doing that practice, there can be the activations can subside. So that's what he's saying. So Sutra, are there any questions up to now? Is it clear?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Kumar.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. Welcome back.
Could you scroll up just a little bit so I can see the English when you're talking? Just, I don't know if it's possible, but I thought I'd throw it out there.
Do what?
My Sanskrit, I can't read Sanskrit very well. So I was just wondering if you could scroll up a tiny bit to the English.
Oh, you can see the notes?
Doctor, yeah. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I get that, but just in case.
Okay, now you can
No,
see,
it
but
doesn't work.
most of it for this is on the next page.
Yeah, got it. Okay, we're
Unfortunately.
good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we are in 35. Okay. So Sutra 35. So he is going on to say from 34 to 40 he is going to describe various techniques by which you can quieten the activations. So he says the next one, the first one he says is pranayama, right? Bahir, I mean Kumbhak, Bahir Kumbhak or Antar Kumbhak, whatever. Vishevati va pravirtihi upana uppanna manasha sthiti nibandini. So here nibandini, bandha means to lock. We have all this, right? Moola bandha, udhyana bandha, jala bandha, all this we have. So bandha means to lock. Nibandini means to lock it down, Sthiti nibandini. Sthiti means we know the activations, the established state. Nibandini. Vishayavati va. Vishayavati means a subject matter. Any Vishayam means subject matter, any subject, any topic, anything that is of interest to you. Uppanna means gives rise to. Somebody said something?
Utpanna.
Uppanna.
Utpanna.
Sorry, Utpanna.
Utpanna.
Not Utpannaha.
Utpanna.
Sorry, Utpanna. Utpanna means that which gives rise to. The pravrittihi utpanna means giving rise to activation. What kind of activation? What it is the manasah, mind, the activations in the mind. That's what it means. So, when you have this point of focus, on a subject matter that you like, maybe a particular topic that you really like, and you focus on that, and you focus on that, and you focus on that. So when you do this focus, that focus pravrittihi gives rise to that nature of activation, and the utpanna is gives rise to the subsiding sthiti, nibandani. So it is locking down the activations. It locks down the activation. That's what he's saying. So by being focused on a particular topic of interest to you, you can lock down the activation. The activations will be there, but it will become dormant. It won't bother you. This is clear?
Yes.
I see some doubts in faces. That's why I'm asking. No? Okay.
Yeah, the topic of interest, it could be anything, or mostly, is it more around the nature's existence? Is that how, or it could be anything?
It could be anything.
Okay.
Like
It could
focus?
be geography, it could be physics, it could be chemistry, it could be anything.
Even the family problems, I'm guessing, yes.
The activations itself is because of that, right?
Right. But so you could, if you ponder on
the family problems is not something which brings, is not something which you really want to, what should I say, is not something very enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
So this is something in which you can just dissolve.
Okay.
In which you can get engrossed.
I see. Okay.
So he has given an open license. Choose anything that of interest to you. So moving on, then he says, or Vishokava Jyotishmati. So Vishoka va Jyotishmati. Jyotishmati means a lamp that is providing light. But he's saying Vishoka means the lamp which has no shoka, which has no sorrow, a sorrowless lamp. So the way we have to understand this is generally in India, when when a human being departs, when a loved one departs, in that house they will put a small lamp, an oil lamp, to indicate the soul, to indicate the soul, right? And they will leave and they will keep the lamp, make sure the lamp is always lit all through the 10 days or 12 days or whatever of all the ceremonies they're conducting. And the lamp stands as something as it is treated as the soul. In place of the soul, we keep that lamp. So this lamp, because of the departed soul, is a lamp which has got shoka in it. It has got sorrow in that. It's a sorrow-filled lamp because people around it are all very sorrowful because the person is departed, right? So accepting that kind of lamp, you can use any other kind of lamp. That's what he's saying. So you can just focus on the lamp. In yoga practice, we say trataha, where you focus on the lamp without blinking, right? As a part of an eye exercise, we do this. How many of you know this? Trataka. Some of you must have done it in the class too, right? Yes.
Yes.
So there we are looking at the lamp without blinking. Such a thing is not there, but here you can also have a lamp and you can focus on the lamp. So that is another way of bringing the activations under control. But these are all things which has to be done for a long period of time, not for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Please remember that. We'll move on to the next sutra. Sutra 137. Vita raga vishayam va chittam. Chittam means, chitta means programmed entity, right? A person. Whether existing or non-existing doesn't matter. It's a soul, right? Programmed entity means it's a soul. So chittam is a person. Could be either a programmed entity, whether living or non-living, doesn't matter. It could be a saint, a philosopher, or anybody for that matter. Raga vishayam. So vita means that has worn out, it is bereft, it doesn't have. What it doesn't have is raga. Raga means attachments. Raga, dvesha. These are the two things. Raga means desires, things that you like, attaching. Dvesha is you don't like, you hate. Raga, dvesha, this is what drives us. Some things we like, some things we don't like, right? We always, in human life, this is how we classify. I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. So this is part of the ego. When we say ego, ahankara, raga, dvesha, and abnivesha, all three are part of the ego. Anyway, let's not confuse the matter. So raga vishayam, that is attachments. Vishayam means subject, all the attachments and attractions. When it is bereft of that, so a soul which is bereft of all this, that soul which does not have all these things, you can focus on that soul. With me?
Yes, yes.
Like some people like to focus on Sai Baba. Some people, Shirdi Sai Baba. Some people like to focus on Puttaparthi Sai Baba. Some people like to focus on Chandrasekhara Saraswati. Some people like to focus on Adi Shankara, whatever. So these are all things based on what they have read, what they have understood about the persons, whether living or non-living, about their attachments which they have given up. So you can focus on that. But remember, you must apply the earlier sutra which we saw. Anytime you apply to a living being who might have expired, might not be living or non-living, if you focus on that, then your knowledge, your vidya can only rise up to their vidya level. It cannot go beyond that. So anyway, we don't want to get into that now. But he is saying, okay, at least do something and get there. Instead of being so in such a difficult level, at least you can rise to that level. So that's why he's giving this option. So you must always see all these options and say, oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want this. Oh, I want only the unmanifested. Swapna Nidra Jnana Alambanam va. Alambanam means resting in that state. We have seen this word already. Alambanam means resting in that state. Swapna Nidra, Swapna, dream that comes in the Nidra, and Jnana, some knowledge based on the dreams that you had in your Nidra, in your sleep. You can resting in that state. You can focus on that state also. You saw a beautiful place in your sleep. You had a wonderful dream where you are walking by a meadow, or walking by a beautiful piece of beautiful lake or a river with the sound gurgling, clear, crystal clear. Sometimes we have dreams like that. You can focus on that too. But all these things are limiting. Anything with visual, they are all limiting. Remember this very clearly. That's why I keep saying again and again. But this is a start, right? We are in Samadhi Pada, we are in the chapter 1. So this is a start. Yata, next sutra. Yata or Yata Abhimatha Dhyanat. Yata means whatever. Mata means mind. Abhimat means conducive to the mind. Meaning anything that is pleasing to the mind. Dhyanat. See, this dhyana is actually dhyana. Dhyana comes from dhyana. It is the state of dhyana is dhyana. Dhyana comes from two words, di and yana. Di is mind or intellect. Di, D-H-I, di is mind or intellect. Yana in Sanskritam, yana means, Meena, you tell me what is yana? Yanam.
Jnanam, wisdom.
Huh?
Wisdom.
No,
Yeah.
that is jnana. That is jnana. Jnana. Jnana means vehicle.
Yeah,
Vehicle.
Vehicle.
Hmm.
Car yanam.
Lokayana. Lokayana
Yanam.
means bus, where all the people travel is called a lokayana. Yana. Yana means vehicle. So this dhyana comes from that, meaning it is a vehicle to quieten your mind. Dhyana. That is why it is dhi plus jnana. Dhyana. So by meditating through dhyana on something that is very pleasing to you, you can do that too. If something is very pleasing to you, that which is whatever is pleasing to you. If the face of your grandson is pleasing to you, focus on that. full license is given to Meena and my sisters to focus on their children, to focus on their grandchildren. And maybe they will see great grandchild before they leave the earth too. So they can. So again, you must apply the sutra saying, oh, this is again limiting. This is again limiting. I want that unmanifest divine. See, when we were in kindergarten, Meena might remember, we studied in the same school, so we had a story. Story of I think the geese and her ducklings. So the mother goose will ask the children to do something. So not I mean, there will be others also, you know. Not I said the goose, not I said the duck, but I will said the hen or something like that. So one of them will ask, one of the birds will ask, do this activity. The goose will say, no, not I won't do this. Not I said the goose, not I said the, we will always say at home, this, not I said the goose, not I said the duck, but I will said the hen. So it is something like that. You have to bring it back again and again. I will focus on the unmanifest divine. These are all fairly simple sutras. That's why I'm going. I'm picking up speed with all these things. We don't have to go. We don't have to give too many examples. Paramanu parama mahattavantah asya vashikaraha. Parama means supreme. We know that. Parameshwaran, we say, right? As if there is one Ishvara and there are many Ishvaras, and then there is one supreme Ishvara. So we say Parameshwara. So anything that you want to say supreme, we say Parama. Parama Santosham. Parama Santosha, right? We say, right? Parama Santosham. So that means extreme happiness. I am jumping like a rubber ball. Please don't. Apply sutra number 133. Maitri Karuna. So yeah, Parama Santosha is fine, but that has to be internal. That Parama Santosha should be there all the time, not just for a fleeting seconds. All right. Parama means supreme. Paramanu means anu. Anu we know. Anu means small, tiny. Right? Atom. So you can mahattavanta, then paramanu. So parama plus anu becomes paramanu. Parama mahattavantah. Parama supreme. Mahattava means mahattuam. In Tamil we say mahattuam. What is mahattuam? All Tamil speaking speak. Huh? Big. So very big.
Large, big.
Yes. So this is, we are saying Parama Mahattuam. Parama Mahattavantah, because huge, unimaginably big, unimaginably small, unimaginably big. You can focus on the asya, that can be your vashikaraha. Vashikaraha we know, that which absorbs, which attracts your attention. It could be any of that. You can focus on the smallest. You can focus on a kadugu. You can focus on a mustard if you want. As the mustard is popping, when you put oil, heat the oil and for seasoning, and you put mustard and it is popping, you can focus on that. All the 24 hours you can focus on that popping. That's why we say, மூஞ்சில கடுகு வெடிக்கிறது. கடுகும் எள்ள.
கடுகு தான்.
In Tamil we say, right? When a person is very angry, we say, if you put
Yellow.
mustard on his face, it will pop because he's so angry and the entire face has got heated up. If you throw mustard, it will pop. Right? Yellow
கொள்ளும் வெடிக்கிறதுப்பா, எள்ளும் கொள்ளும்.
Yellow is till seeds. Kollu, I don't know in Hindi.
கொள்ளு வந்து
I know it is horse something.
foxtail.
Lentils?
Horse gram.
No.
Gram.
Kollu is horse
Horse
lentil,
Horse gram.
horse gram, something like that. Anyway, those are some of the things which we say at home. And when a person is angry, we say, oh, if you throw this on his face, it will all pop. Or it will get roasted in that heat because they become so angry and the face is so red. So you can focus on it.
They will laugh.
Huh?
Hearing
This
that, they
one-
probably will laugh at it. I'm just thinking about that expression
Yeah.
when you say.
I mean, that probably is the intent, but when a person is really angry, you say something like this, and the rest of the people laugh, and actually the person who is angry will become more angry. So it may not be a very nice thing to say, I think.
Yeah, I'm hearing that expression first time, so I was just imagining.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. So Sutra 134 to 140 is giving you various options on what you can focus on to quieten the mind. So we saw all this. So we'll just go through that once again quickly. 34 we saw by exhalation and by inhalation or Bahir Kumbhak. Kumbhak, not, I cannot say holding of breath. It could be Bahir Kumbhak or Antar Kumbhak, any of that. That is basically controlling the prana control, pranayama. Or you can, any subject that is of interest to you, focusing on that subject, sthiti nibandhani, that locks down the activations. Or you can focus on a jyotishmati, a light, but which has no shoka in it. Okay, bright light, which has no shoka in it. Then we also saw you can focus on any being who has no attachments to worldly things, raga vishayam, no attachments, an attachment being bereft of all these worldly attachments. Worldly attachments means everything, relationship, material, non-material, everything. Or you can focus on anything that is pleasing to the mind, doing it, being in dhyana, being fully focused, engrossed in that. And then he says, oh, it can be that thing can even be the smallest thing. It can be as tiny as an anu, atomic. Now, those days he probably knew only the atomic particle. Now we have subatomic particles too. So you can focus on subatomic particles too. Smallest to the biggest, anything you can focus on. And these are all the techniques that help you to calm down the mind. So you pick your choice. And I kept on saying at each and every sutra that all these things are limiting.
Can a combination of these techniques be used, like according
Oh,
to
yes.
the situation?
Oh yes, be my guest. Yes. Shobna, you can use your beautiful, the wonderful, handsome face of your husband to focus. You can use the wonderful face of your son. When he is angry, you can use that face. Anything that you, anything that draws your attention and makes you to focus. The focus is the important point here. What gets you to focus? That's the important point. See, when I was young, when I was 2.5, 3 years old, what made me focus was just a comb and the imagination that it is a train. And I will be imagining that to be a train, and I will be playing with that for hours together. So I'm taking it to the point of a small article, a paramanu. I'm not saying paramanu, a small article, like a small piece of comb. And the imagination part of that, it being a train, that also we saw imagination, right? We saw a dream or whatever, something, some imagination. And I'm using that and I'm completely engrossed. When people call me for lunch or dinner or for some, I won't even hear it. We have the 10-minute warning. So I will go for another 2 minutes and then I will stop. Shall we move on? One more sutra.
Yes.
Ready?
Yep.
Kshina vrittehi abhijatasya eva manehi grahitri grahana graheshu tatastha tat anjanata
Yes.
samapatihi. So now he is going to define a state called samapati. Samapati means full total engrossment. So the next two sutras, I mean these three sutras, 41, 42, 43, is going to talk about the state samapati. So the introduction to samapati is giving here. Kshina vrittihi. Vritti we know, right? So vrittihi is a plural of vrittihi. Vrittis. Vrittehi actually is a plural of vritti. Vrittis, let us say, for convenience. Kshina. Kshina means that which wears off, which falls off. So when the vrittis fall off, that's what it means. Kshina vrittehi means when the vrittis fall off. When the vrittis and when the activations have fallen silent, quietened down considerably, right? When a maid servant has come home and she's making a lot of noise, and the activations inside is, oh my God, that beautiful vessel that I bought 2 days back, and now she has dented that. So this is the activation. You're not even seen it, but this is the activation that is going on in the head. So those activations have come down. So now you're not focused on that. You're focused on what you're doing. Abhijatasya. Jata means born. Abhijatasya means to be born in front of you. What is born in front of you? Eva. Eva means looks like something is born in front of you. Manehe means it's a plural. Mane means the crystal. Okay. In Tamil, they will say spatikam. Manehe. Grahitri, grahana, graheshu. So all these three things. Tatastha, tat anjanata samapatihi. So this deep engrossment is described as when does it happen? When the vrittis have fallen off. When the vrittis have fallen off. When the vrittis have fallen off, what appears before you, abhijatasya, what is born in front of you is your chitta, how does it become? What happens to your chitta? It becomes like a crystal. Have you seen a crystal? Spatikam, if you see, and you put other things around it, some other colors, if you put white, if you put red, blue, etc., it will absorb that color. From the other side, if you look, the spatikam will look red.
Red.
If you put a blue background, it will look blue. With me? With me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that's what he's describing. So when you go into a focus state, when the activations within you fall off as a result of being in a one-pointed focus, born out of this state, that is abhijatasya, born in front of you. What is born? That which comes out of you. What does it look like? As the activation dissipate, out of that emerges a state called samapatihi, or becoming fully engrossed. That engrossment is the nature of a crystal. That's what we saw. Grihitru means the entity that is experiencing. We are that entity, right? The asmita. Grihitru means the entity that is experiencing. Grahana. Grahana means to grasp. Grahanam we say. That is, during that grahanam, something is grasping something else. Grahana means grasp. Graheshu means the process of grasping. All these three, all three of them coming together is defined by the term samapatihi. All these three become one. So that's what we are defining here. Samapatihi means, that's what it means.
Okay.
So should we stop here?
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Kumar.
Yes.
So any question before I go off?
When you said we're the crystal,
Huh?
remember you were talking about, are you the crystals? Like, are we like the crystal that were programmed like that? What you were just talking about?
No, he says that state, that samapati state is like that of a crystal. If you take a white crystal and you put a blue background, then from the other side, when you look, the crystal looks blue. The crystal completely absorbs that color. That's what he's saying. So what
we're
he's basically
absorbing
saying is, when you're in that state, you're fully absorbed in what you're doing. When you're focused on a particular thing, you're fully engrossed in that, you become part of it. You have taken that color, meaning that's you become part of that. You become part of that.
All right, thank you so much. This is
Sure.
really great.
Yeah.
There I
So
go.
42 and
Thank you
43
very much.
defines further what the samapati state is. There are two types. We will discuss all that next week. On that note, namaste.
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 See you all.
Thank you. Kumarji.
Keep the
Thank
questions
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Keep the questions coming. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.